I've been wanting to do this test between the GH7 and the S1. Wow, look, I got so many cameras, and I'm filming on the S9 with my new 18-40 lens. I've also been attending Vin Yang's online masterclass thingy on communication, so I'm trying to prevent myself from saying ahs, ums, and sentence reaffirming stuff like okay, right, so. But I think so is still quite okay to say. So I have the GH7. I've had the GH7 for quite a while, like 1 year, and but I had the GH6 for quite a while, and recently I got the S1 Mark II, and I feel like this camera, the S1 Mark II, is very similar to the GH7 in the sense that it's like a full frame version of this camera. But in my experience, this is actually better. It's smaller, it's kind of more capable, it has the full frame, it's lighter, but the only issue is it may overheat. It hasn't yet overheated on me, but I'm pretty sure if I went to a wedding as a paid videographer, it'd be quite scary to use this thing. But for what I do, the trash that I film, this is actually very nice, the S1 Mark II. So I've been wanting to do this test between the GH7 versus the S1 Mark II, and I went out the other day to film a bunch of comparison shots, and what I've noticed is that the GH7 leans deeper blue magenta, and the S1 Mark II leans warmer teal. In some sense, it's closer to orange teal, the S1 Mark II, and the GH7 is closer to what I find closer to real life. So it almost feels like the GH7 has a documentary vibe when you see it, and the S1 Mark II has a little bit more tasteful in the sense of warmness on the soul. Okay, so this is the GH7 and this is the S1 Mark II. You see that the colors between these two things differ slightly, where the GH7 is a little bit more purple almost, and the S1 Mark II is definitely more teal, especially when you see the stuff that can go teal will go teal, and this is basically the teal color really pops out. Greens are quite similar across the board, but it's blue. The GH7's blue and the S1 Mark II's blue is very different, and the other one is if it can get warm, it will get warm on the S1 Mark II. This is another comparison of 25p. You can see that S1 Mark II really pushes the warmness and also the teal. So it gives you a little bit of that lat look right out of the camera. And the GH7 is really purple. There's a lot of magenta going on. If I could call the GH7's look so anything, it would be kind of purple, and the S1 Mark II color will be a little bit more balanced orange teal. Right? You can see that. And the GH7 actually becomes even more purple the higher the frame rate goes. So this is 50p, and when we go to 100p, you see that the whole image starts to move into even more magenta. The S1 Mark II still maintains a pretty good color fidelity, except for the 100p, except for the crop in 100p. But the color is a lot better on the S1 Mark II. I tried doing the 200p over here on the GH7. We still have the magenta shift, but gosh, the detail on Full HD is really trash. And this is the S1 Mark II's detail. You can see it's a lot better. can actually make out stuff. So that is quite a big difference. And you can also see the magenta shift is huge compared to the S1 Mark II's much better color retention. You can see the color retention over here. S1 Mark II, S1 Mark II, GH7, GH7, GH7. So the GH7 really, from 50p, really degrades over the higher you go with the frame rate. At 50p, it's a little bit purplish, and then it becomes kind of purplish, and then it becomes very purplish. So S1 Mark II's color retention degradation is performs a lot better. This is my face. Welcome. Oh wow, look at, didn't do the text properly. Okay, so this is the GH7. So when it comes to this talking head stuff, I actually don't find there to be a huge difference between the GH7 and S1 Mark II. The S1 Mark II's DR boost on is truly quite amazing, because if I turn off the exposure normalization, this is how bright this actually is, and the ability to bring it back in post is quite astonishing. So that means that you would have a lot more information over here in the shadows compared to something like this, but honestly I don't know what's the point. Okay, here there's not much change also. Over you can see that where it can get warm, it will get warm on the S1 Mark II. So colors that lean almost like warm white will become a lot more warm white on the S1 Mark II. On the GH7, I would say this is closer to, really truly closer to real life, and the S1 Mark II is a little bit more like a heightened version of what is quote unquote cinematic, with the teals and the oranges, you know, see the oranges and the teals really come to life. Okay, what else do we have? Yeah, so where it can get warm, it will get warm again. I keep saying this. Greens also, just overall S1 Mark II is warm. It's a warm look. What am I looking here? GH7 versus S1 Mark II. Here is I think it's a lot easier to see the difference between the blues in the real world. So the GH7 is a lot more neutral, like blue. It's deeper. This is more correct in person, and this is a look. It goes into teal again. Greens are quite similar, and the GH7 really truly has an overall wash of purple. Okay, this is a different scene of blue. I actually expected this to be vastly different from the next shot on the S1 Mark II, but it's not hugely different, but you can tell that purplish, more deeper blue closer to the purple realm versus the teal. So this is really more of the look, as I mentioned don't know how many times, countless times. Vin Yang says to use higher pitch to pull your attention and slowly speak. So on the GH7, as I said once again, it is more like a documentary look out of camera, and the S1 Mark II is a little bit more cinematic. Right. Here's the GH7 again, and the S1 Mark II. The S1 Mark II again pushing the sky into teal. Greens maintain quite similar vibes. Same thing, same story over here, where warm white stuff become even more warm, and the GH7 exhibiting a much more neutral look. And this is the not final, but this is one of. This is GH7, S1 Mark II. Again, the blues go teal, that's the biggest difference, and what can be warm white will go warm. I think the S1 Mark II overall has a more pleasing image right out of camera after you convert from Vlog to 709. But the GH7, I'm just such a broken record. The GH7 is truer to life with a little bit extra blues. If you're like the guy who invented the blue LED.
By 1992, Shuji Nakamura had this.
And what is your favorite color? Oh, blue, no.
Was it always blue or only after you made the LED?
I was born the fishery village. In front of the house is the ocean, blue always.
I think he might like the GH7 footage more versus the rest of the world who enjoys this color separation more into the orange teal. This was a test between, I wanted to try a low light mixed lighting test. So this place in Funan actually has a lot of lighting setups of the neon lights all the way up to daylight up here. Actually, I find it's quite difficult to tell the difference between the GH7 and S1 Mark II when it comes to this thing, except for it's the same story of S1 Mark II. It's a lot more warm, but both perform pretty well. And I tried the low light one where we increased the shutter speed and we increased the ISO. The GH7 is noisy, but it actually isn't terrible. So if you see over here in the escalator, you can see a lot of noise. Let's turn off the timeline. There is a lot of noise, but the noise pattern is truly it's very reasonable and actually very easy to clean up if you just put a little bit of values over here, and then that actually cleans up very well. And so if you turn off the noise reduction, turn on the noise reduction, it actually really does clean up quite well, and I don't think it's that much of an issue. But what is a real issue that I noticed over here is on the S1 Mark II. Where is it? This neon thing tells me that there is a little bit of line skipping or something going on. You can see it. So I need to do a test. Yeah, this one screams shitty camera, but it's not a shitty camera, or shitty settings or something funky. So I'm gonna do a test maybe next time where I can find a neon light source to see where the sensor skips the line. So I've been shooting all these in 4K, not the full sensor 6K, and so I want to test whether for these Lumix cameras shooting in the open gate, will it actually yield less of this artifact? I would say on the GH7 this is less prevalent, and the staircasing effect is a lot more reasonable because that's just a normal aliasing thing that kind of happens when when there's too much contrast happening in the scene. But I think the S1 Mark II's version of this is problematic. This is strange. I think that I would go this. I'll put this in the realm of artifacts, bad compression or something. This are all 4:2 4K. Not super pleased with this result over here, and it's not like I was really pixel peeping. It actually caught my attention as I was just reviewing the footage over here. The GH7 didn't catch my attention, but the S1 Mark II one did. You can see here, this starts to dance. So if you can imagine if you were filming a neon sign for your client or something and this popped up, ooh, that's gonna suck. It still sucks over here. So this is quite irritating. Hey, on the GH7 on an ISO 2000, it's actually also very bad. That's really bad. You can see it. And on the ISO 5000, it's still there also. Time to do a test. Other than that, honestly, seriously, nobody cares. These two cameras are so similar that I think it's just a matter of preference on, do you like this body? Do you want full frame? Do you want more bokeh? Do you want smaller lenses? Because I mean, the lens size comparison thing is is quite a joke, lah. If you don't need a shallow depth of field, this is an insane proposition of 24 to 120. This is so small, right? And over here, if we are doing the comparison, I don't even have a 24 to 120, but I do have a 24 to 60, and this is the size, right? But you get more bokeh, less bokeh, and then you have this tiny lens that I'm using with no bokeh, as good as Micro Four Thirds bokeh, but so much smaller. So I think at the end of the day, it's just are you a nerd like me who just loves playing with cameras instead of making stories? Or if you don't care, if you're not a nerd like me, honestly, any one of these cameras are superb. If I scrub this timeline and remove all of the text, seriously, no one will really know what camera is which. It just looks like a bunch of footage. So that's my 2 cents, and I need to go off already. So peace. So after looking through the footage between the S1 Mark II and the GH7, I feel like the image quality difference, at least for like landscape stuff, isn't huge. At this point, I think we all understand the difference between full frame and its better low light performance and shallow depth of field, subject separation. I think that one is a horse beaten to death. I actually don't understand that reference, but it's been going on around a lot, and everyone understands the differences between full frame and smaller sensors. The one thing that personally, at least for me at this point, I didn't really understand the difference was how much of a perceived quality increase or difference is there between the two cameras. And after doing this test, there isn't really much. It's a very subjective difference between some colors, which is not difficult to change in post. So it's more how the camera responds to you and how you respond to the camera. Do you even want to pick it up to travel with it? And do you want to shoot stuff with it? Do you enjoy the process? Do you like the lenses? Do the lenses speak to you? I think at the end of the day, it's just, will you use the camera? And if the answer is yes, then I think any one of these cameras really is quite good. More than good. Amazing, actually. I can't speak for other brands, but I used to use Nikon. I used to use Canon, but this is very long ago. And Sony. And I never shot as much as I ever did, especially video, until I started using Lumix cameras. And I'm not very sure what is it about it, but I feel like for tinkerers and nerds like me, there's something very wholehearted about this system, where it's not the best, but it tries its best. But it tries its best. And when you use it, you can almost feel the camera trying its best. And when they update it, you feel rewarded for learning how to try your best with the camera that's trying its best. I think the biggest downside is always just the market share of Lumix cameras is just so small, so I just hope that it grows bigger so that I get to benefit from third-party accessories and stuff like that. It's getting better right now, especially with third-party autofocus lenses like this, which is still very slow, but it's very fun when it goes onto the S9. So what the hell am I saying? I'm just practicing talking. And if you're here listening to me talk right now, I think you are crazy, you have nothing to do, or somehow I am actually somewhat entertaining. Which I don't think so, but I am trying still to practice this masterclass of communication. And I think one of the things that I'm not so good at is raising the pitch of my voice and varying the speed of which I talk. I do think I've managed to cut out quite a lot of ums and ahs, and I'm getting more comfortable with pauses. And I'm also practicing not looking at the monitor and looking at the lens when I want to refer to the video spectator. So overall, I think making these YouTube videos and talking nonsense and enjoying the process of the hobby has definitely helped me rearrange my thoughts and gain some confidence in sharing the things I love and feel passionate about. The one thing I definitely still need to continue working on is raising the pitch of my voice to keep the content somewhat interesting, and also varying the rate of speech. and just organizing my thoughts, because I kind of run around in circles quite a lot because I'm rambling. So what I really hope to achieve, maybe the next few months, is the ability to have a few points that I want to cover before I start opening my mouth. I think that would be amazing. Other than that side rant, I think these two cameras, the S1 Mark II and the GH7, are amazing. And the real bugging factor for me now is the aliasing problem when it comes to super high contrast pixels. So I want to go and do some tests and see if there's a way to circumvent that problem, and maybe even find out why. So I think that's it for this video. It's actually amazingly long. I can't believe how long this is. But what is even more amazing is that you somehow watched it all. Okay, bye-bye.